Now, Laura, you were around him not only at Oklahoma, but obviously a lot at Alabama. What do you think about his ability to handle this?
He's ready for it, Greenie. And in speaking to him after he was drafted by the Eagles, he said, it was really fun to have the conversations that he had with them about how they plan to use him. I think it's going to be really exciting for just football fans in general to watch. And he said to me, too, as it relates to the criticism, he's like, I was in a situation in Alabama where the entire state was clamoring for the other quarterback. Of course, that would be Tua. And then when Tua replaced Jalen, he backed him up as a great teammate. So this is something that he's dealt with many times before. I think as it relates to his ability as a quarterback and what he could bring to the table, you look at the RPO game, which has been successful for the Eagles in the past. Let's go back to 2017 when Nick Foles ran the RPO. It's a big reason why they were able to have success that year with him in the fold. Last year, the Eagles averaged about 4.3 yards in the RPO. They needed some help there. And if you look at what Jalen Hurts did running it at Oklahoma, they averaged around 9 yards. That's his strength. That's something that if they play him at quarterback, they'll play him at a variety of positions. But when they play him at quarterback or when they give him that chance, I think he brings a lot to the table, specifically for the Eagles offense.
Nick, what did you think of them drafting him on the second round?
Yeah, it was curious to me. I think if another team had done it, we would be kind of eviscerating them, but we give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt because they're such a smart organization and have won a Super Bowl. But I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to use them in a similar way that Taysom Hill is used, it makes sense down there because Drew Brees is 42 and his arm strength isn't quite there anymore. I don't understand why you bring in a guy like this when he's most effective. You're going to have to take your MVP level quarterback off the field, and to expend the capital at a second round pick for this, it doesn't quite make sense. I can only imagine if we saw Bill O'Brien do this down there in Houston, and the situation is quite similar, where they already have a pretty athletic quarterback who has an injury history. Carson Wentz is a very athletic quarterback with an injury history, so I'm not sure why we're not criticizing this as much as we would if it happened elsewhere.
RC, did you like the pick?
I do. I didn't at first, but I do now because they did exactly what the Packers should have done. The Packers should have found some wide receivers and some help for Aaron Rodgers, which the Philadelphia Eagles had to do, and they did. And now, had they drafted Jacob Eason, had they drafted Jake Fromm, then I would have an issue. But you get a backup quarterback in Jalen Hurts that if you use him in other ways, you don't waste a pick by just keeping him on the sideline. By the way, you have a quarterback who is often injured, who puts himself in bad situations, and last year you had to play a playoff game with a dude that was working with us in the offseason and also warmed up at wide receiver for a game. And so for me, this pick looks smarter now than it did in the second round. I think this could be a good thing for the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz.
All right, we will see. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.